The bell above the small grocery store door rang softly as a young woman stepped inside. Her clothes were simple and worn, and her shoes carried the dust of a long walk. She looked around nervously, clutching a few coins tightly in her hand, as if they were the most valuable thing she owned. Behind the counter stood the shopkeeper, a middle-aged man with sharp eyes and an impatient expression. He glanced at her from head to toe and immediately judged her before she even spoke. "What do you want?" he asked coldly. The young woman hesitated for a moment. "Sir, I just need a little bread and maybe some milk. I don't have much money, but I can pay what I have." She opened her hand, revealing a few small coins. The shopkeeper laughed loudly, a laugh that echoed through the quiet store. "That's all you have?" he said mockingly. "You think this is a charity? Go beg somewhere else." The woman's face turned red with embarrassment. She looked down at the floor, clearly hurt by his words, but she didn't move. Hunger had pushed her to try one more time. "Please," she said softly. "I haven't eaten since yesterday. I just need something small." The shopkeeper rolled his eyes. "If I gave food to every poor person who walked in here, I'd be bankrupt. Now get out before you scare away my real customers." The woman slowly nodded, her eyes filled with tears. She turned toward the door, trying to hold her dignity together. What the shopkeeper didn't notice was the man sitting quietly in the corner of the store. He wore a dusty brown hat and a worn leather jacket. His boots were old, but they were strong, and his presence carried a quiet confidence. He had been sitting there silently, drinking coffee and watching everything. He was a cowboy who had just ridden into town after a long journey, and he had seen everything. As the young woman reached the door, the cowboy finally stood up. "Hold on a second, ma'am," he said calmly. His deep voice filled the room. The woman turned around, surprised. "Yes?" she asked nervously. The cowboy walked slowly toward the counter and placed a few bills on it. "Give her what she needs," he said. The shopkeeper frowned. "This isn't your business." The cowboy looked him straight in the eyes. "It became my business the moment you decided to humiliate someone who came here hungry." The store fell silent. The shopkeeper looked at the money on the counter. It was far more than the cost of bread and milk. He quickly grabbed the items and pushed them across the counter. The woman looked shocked. "Sir, I can't let you do that." The cowboy smiled gently. "Everyone deserves a meal," he said, "and no one deserves to be treated like that." The woman's eyes filled with tears again, but this time they were tears of gratitude. "Thank you," she whispered. The cowboy nodded. "Take care of yourself." She left the store holding the small bag of food as if it were treasure. But the story didn't end there. The cowboy turned back to the shopkeeper, who was now pretending to rearrange items behind the counter. "You know," the cowboy said calmly, "people show their true character when someone weaker walks through their door." The shopkeeper scoffed. "Mind your own business, cowboy." The cowboy leaned against the counter. "I've traveled through a lot of towns," he said, "and I've learned something important." The shopkeeper rolled his eyes again. "What's that?" The cowboy replied quietly. "The way you treat people when they have nothing says everything about who you are." The shopkeeper said nothing. Customers who had quietly entered the store during the conversation were now watching. The cowboy placed one more bill on the counter. "Keep the change," he said. Then he walked toward the door. But just before leaving, he stopped and turned around. "And next time someone walks in hungry," he added, "remember that kindness costs less than cruelty." With that, he stepped outside into the sunlight. The shopkeeper stood there silently, realizing everyone in the store had heard every word. His face turned red with embarrassment. Meanwhile, outside the store, the young woman was sitting on a bench. She had opened the bag and was slowly eating the bread, as if trying to make it last. When she saw the cowboy walking out, she quickly stood up. "Sir," she called. He turned around. "I just wanted to thank you again," she said. The cowboy shrugged slightly. "No need to thank me." "But there is," she insisted. "Most people just watch and do nothing." The cowboy looked out toward the quiet road leading out of town. "Sometimes," he said, "all it takes is one person to stand up." The woman smiled for the first time that day. "You changed my day," she said. The cowboy tipped his hat slightly. "Maybe one day you'll change someone else's." And with that, he walked toward his horse, mounted it, and rode slowly down the dusty road, disappearing into the horizon. Back inside the store, something unusual happened. The shopkeeper looked at the door for a long moment. Then he looked at the customers watching him. For the first time in a long time, he felt ashamed. Sometimes a simple moment can teach a powerful lesson. And sometimes the quietest person in the room is the one who sees everything. If this story touched your heart and reminded you how important kindness is, take a moment right now to support the channel. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends and family, and leave a comment below telling us what you would have done in this situation. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you never miss another powerful story like this. Because stories like this remind us that even small acts of kindness can change someone's life forever. But before you go, think about this. How many times have we seen someone struggling and stayed silent? How many times have we walked past someone who needed help? The cowboy in this story didn't know the woman. He didn't know her anything. Yet he chose kindness. And that choice made all the difference. The truth is, every single one of us has the power to do the same. A kind word, a small gesture, a moment of courage. These things might seem small, but to someone who is struggling, they can mean the world. So the next time you see someone in need, remember this story. Remember the cowboy who refused to stay silent. And remember that kindness is one of the most powerful things a person can give. If you believe the world needs more stories like this, help us spread the message. Like the video, share it with someone who believes in kindness, and tell us your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next inspiring story. Because sometimes, the smallest actions create the biggest change. Cowboy's hat face.